I just changed it. It's good. All right. So we are live now. Have to go in.
It ends it and then starts it again. I've noticed.
So we are.
Whenever I've slipped up. Whoa.
There it is.
Who else goes live during the volatility? Hey?
No, nobody else. All right. Join us live.
I need to sort shit out.
All right. Man, if you would have caught that that top right there, that would have been a nice.
No, straight from the daily.
You gotta be preset.
You gotta have some huge pair of balls to
No, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think they're as big as you think. So I preset for the weekly and I swing.
How big are we talking?
I mean, like bigger
2 hands,
bigger than most 8th graders. I mean, yeah, no. The weekly was actually a really great preset trade, and I told Mark that in the group specifically. I said, "Go get a reaction there. It's a tradable reaction. The question is should you hold that short?" And it gave you a really nice reaction, a little over 1%. You can't take profits on that because it came down to back tested the single prints and the daily value area high at the time, and then you just move on with your life. You take your profits and you're like, okay, the trend is still up. This is a really nice reaction. I've got no reason to hold this position, and you move on. If you're going to counter trade the trend, that's how you have to do it, because otherwise, you're looking for the next opportunity for the long, and we can kind of talk about that here in a second. I'm just getting the tweet out now. Max, if you have anything to fill the gap of silence, go for it.
Sorry. Fill it down the silence. Oy.
How was your cereal this morning, my friend? Did you use the oat milk?
Mate, I've actually literally, I swear, as soon as I seen that message from Magic in the staff chat, I was literally like, head was off the pillow. I was like, okay, I'm up. And then I just had to like breathe on the end of my bed and smack myself a few times, the usual wake up, the usual pre-stream setup.
5:30 a.m. in Dubai life.
Yeah. Man, I didn't get into like.
I've heard they got the best coffee though.
The what?
The best coffee.
Yeah, Nescafe Gold, mate.
I don't even know what that is. Like,
it's like an instant coffee, and it comes straight from it comes from a town called Titbury in the UK. I swear to God, when I was getting the bus to school from that town, you could smell it every morning while they brewed the coffee. It smelled amazing. It's just in the air. Definitely air pollution. Don't know whether it's good for you, but yeah.
The Bitcoin piggy bank is what it is.
About to turn up the volume a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, the Nescafe thing, I've heard that from multiple people. They're all foreign. None of them are in the U.S. every time I hear it. So
great
that
coffee,
surprising.
It's instant coffee, and it's absolutely great.
Oh, did you have the pennant drawn? Because there was bull div on that pennant. That was nice.
Yeah, I was same thing. I was looking at this, anticipating and possibly swing fail that high at 21.8, and then that would be a nice little fake out. But yeah, I did not do that, so definitely ran it. A perfect breakout retest for anybody looking at that. So
maybe we'll change the thumbnail to Forrest Gump, and I just kept running and just put Bitcoin on his shirt. Just an idea, man.
That's the way to do it. Cool.
Well, where do you boys want to start tonight? Do you guys want to start with the order flow? Do you want me to just go through the move on the way up?
Don't do that to me.
All right, I got it. I know you just woke up. All right, let me steal the screen.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm debating whether to even talk about how to get in. I'll talk about how to get into a trade. I mean, that pennant looks like the best way, to be fair.
It was a good play. I didn't expect what we just saw, but yeah, I mean, it was a good play. Let me know when I've stolen the screen from you a little bit.
Yep, you're good.
All right, cool. So levels, right? anyone that watches these that's not in the group, big level was 20,688.50. I gave that level all the way back here in a live stream actually with you guys and on Twitter. So go above the level, lose the level, come back to support here, which at the time was the golden pocket and daily support. Come back to the level, trade back to support, back to level, and then you form what's called a higher low, right? A partial decline. I've seen people saying it's a double bottom. I've seen people calling it all kinds of things, pin it, triangle, whatever you need to call it. It looks like an inverse head and shoulders here on the low time frames. It's a bullish pattern, right? So going into last night specifically, we were talking about the time point of control and the volume point of control, both coming in right around 20,300, just below previous day value area high, which could get you trapped in a short realistically. So you can see right here, it did dip below those levels to 20,236, but no actual closures below. If we turn on ATAS levels, you will find that they held very nicely right here. And we'll move this down to 20,300 because it has shifted since then. But this was the level you were looking for to get flipped into resistance. It just did not happen. It has since shifted up because there's quite a bit of volume that's gone on in this region. Your TPO POC was there as well. It's now shifted up as well. Just letting you know, if you lose this level, and I mean, like it's a SR flip, you see it in the order flow, you get there, people defending that level, moving it down, then yeah, this trend is over. Otherwise, we were looking for 21,022, possibly the top of this box, which both got really good reactions. When you turn them on, you'll see what I mean. These were both levels that were scalpable. These are tradable levels. However, fighting the trend on them was one of those things where unless you had your invalidations marked out, which in this case, I believe you actually had single prints there from the day before, right? So you can see that you did have some single prints right here at starting at 20,752. And so if you were to go back to your chart now and you put 20,752 on there, you can see what was defended. At the time, it was also your daily value area high, right? So you can see you've come back to these levels and you're just not seeing the reaction that you need to find acceptance into these levels. No one is pushing the price lower. You've got nothing to really trigger further downside at that point. There's no weakness in price. The trend is still intact. So there's no reason to actually put on a swing short, so to speak. Again, scalpable, yes, the levels are very well respected, including this one up here. Just don't get sucked into that game. Make sure you take your profits and get out of the market. After that, you did go to the value area high and very well respected, almost to the dollar, as I like to say, to the nuts. And then you had this pennant that did form, right? The pennant that formed was pretty simple to look at. I don't think I actually have the pennant up here. I'll just draw it real quick. Not much of a pattern trader myself, but it does help to see compression, right? So you can see that you have this going on here, and that if you were to go over to, again, your order flow, and this isn't to steal anything from Max's segment, you would have found, even on the 5-minute, which we're going to get off the volume chart here, you would have found that you had bull div. So you actually have negative delta going into higher lows, letting you know that, well, people were looking to buy this area of the chart still and push it higher. And if you were to do something as simple as pull a fixed range on this area of the chart, where did it come back to? The value area low. And actually, this is a little too far. We'll go to here before the breakout, and we'll turn off the extension. And you can see that you perfectly retested the value area low, bottom of the pennant. You had bullish divergence that was coming in there on the delta, letting you know that, well, if you're shorting at the previous day point of control in the daily open, which is also where this comes in at, and the value area low of your local range, which this range had only been around for 4 or 5 hours, you probably weren't going to have a very good time. So shorting in this region of the chart is a bad idea. Shorting up here was a good idea until it wasn't, and that was about right here, and you got this candle, which did come in to our market structure and statistical target zone Technically, we have not tapped the statistical target yet. It's still higher. We'll see if we get that in the near term or if maybe it's later down the line. But we've actually never not come up here and tapped this pivot since like 2015 based on the current circumstances. So one would expect that even though there is a pullback happening, could be sizable. We'll see what we get. Could be some decent setups out of it, that eventually we will see these numbers, and that 23,282.50 really is a big level. Also above this pivot right around 23,150. Reason being is that you have single prints above it, and if entered and found acceptance, just like when they were defended down here, which would find a move down to crucial support, this actually opens up the window for a rise to the upside. So, interesting price action we're having. For the trader, this is a lot of fun. If you're not a trader and you didn't buy down here, or you've sat short from this region of the chart, you're having a bad day. That's why we bring you these streams, though, is to give you the macro overlay so that you can make better decisions. But yeah, pretty simple analysis across the board, in my opinion. Even right here, when you're doing this, like this is a caveman level. If you're in the group, you know why I call it the caveman level. It's so easy. Anyone can do it almost. You've come up to resistance and you've just verified support and then put in a higher low and off you go. So no sign of weakness until weakness is present in the chart. You got to move up in the range. The overall range, let me get ATS range now, was this. These are the boxes that are presented, because these are the boxes that matter the most. So this is your mid-range resistance, support. Now we're moving into pretty important resistance. If Bitcoin is actually going to make a move higher, informally backtest a range, which it hasn't done since borderline January to March, right here on this move. Well, actually, it's all the way up here. I take that back. Region here. Yeah, it's up here near the 48,000. You have not done that in quite some time. So this would be a change of behavior. If it gets through this box, it would be a change of behavior from the breakdown. And we would likely see a back test of 26,500, in my opinion, 25,200 first. But that's only if it can get above 23,000. In this case, it looks like $350. Get above that, you'll see 25.2. If you see 25.2, you could see 26.5. And I would put quite a bit of weight on 28.3 to 28.7, 26. That is a very big level on the chart. A little box there, put them on there. You guys are good to go. You just have to be able to trade it when it gets there. That's the question. Can you manage that position and manage that risk? I otherwise have nothing else.
What
Max,
have you got in that box?
give you enough time.
Sorry, what have you got in that box that you've?
that?
What have you got in the box just above us? I couldn't really make it out. I am looking at the minimum.
Oh man, I went over this in the live trading session.
Not that one. The one down. The one down.
Quite a bit.
The one just
There's a
above
lot
us.
here. There's just there's just a lot of confluence here. So obviously we had this daily level at 552, excuse me, and the high here is exactly that. So it's literally to the dollar, which is great. You also have a
single print open. Just above that single print open, you've got a naked point of control on the daily, and also a naked pivot. I literally just this is 20. Yeah, there you go.
About the one at 23,599.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, there is one up there. Yeah, I'm not necessarily watching that, only because we're not there yet. I'm more looking at the macro and just saying, well, when we get there, we can take a look at, can we poke our head in here and then get a rejection? Sure. But the invalidation on that's super easy. It's basically this, we could call it the pivot. But for me, we need to evaluate what we're doing right here. And as far as the trend goes, until you lose this section of the chart that we just spent time consolidating in, there's really no sense in talking about a high on this move. But the pullback on this could present a decent range, and it may even present an opportunity that if this is a local high, when I say local, I mean just a high that forms something like this right here, before the consolidation continues, it'll present an opportunity, whether it's a short or a long from lower. But a short up here could present itself if it goes sideways long enough to, build up some divergences, things like that. So, because there are quite a few longs that entered on this move, if I recall, like that was a pretty big candle. So I'll let you kind of jump into that. But that's really all I've got. Those are the levels, guys. Very important levels.
Cool. Let me get a screen up. Haven't really got setups in a way of like trades to offer you guys right now. When you have a big move up like that, the kind of best thing to do is be patient and wait. But here we are. So you can watch me try and figure some out while we go. What I'm watching in the immediate is, I know it's kind of like not ideal, but when you have a big move up like this, normally what you get, and I just mentioned it to the boys before, if you didn't, we were talking about how big of a pair you'd have had to have, how big your balls would have to be to short that daily. Pre-college was the answer, but like really, it was a fast trade into that, so you have to be quick. But if you look at the open interest, it's clearly not a strong move. You've got a huge amount of volume. Okay, great. But it's clearly shorts getting wrecked, not buyers getting too interested. If we cheat, pop on the net longs, it does say that definitely some buyers came in. Fair enough. I tell you how you could have, you've got that pennant thing that CVO was showing earlier, but the other signal, and it's a difficult one because this came in fast and you were doing a really range, it must be said. If you're going to draw a range like that, not too much has happened. The giveaway was the CVD, and then you also had, if you look here, $5 million worth of short effectively come in at the daily open, like literally out of nowhere in the jump. Huge amount of shorts coming in this candle. You can see from the open interest increasing and the the delta being very highly negative. That means that someone's opened a short trade there. You actually come up and you come back and test just the top of that candle where them shorts were, and then they're probably thinking let's just theorize that the market maker spotted them. He thought, Joe, I'm going to punish him. He didn't even give them he gave them one chance to get out at entry, and then he just absolutely melted them. And without a doubt, they are out of a position now, unless they're using no stop loss, which very easily could be. But yeah, the interesting to know about this candle here is if you look at it, you've got $85 million worth of volume there, and the open interest actually started with a rise. So that's, in my opinion, when Magic said, okay, we've had some longs come in, they're at the bottom, in my opinion. Let's go to a lower time frame, actually, have a look. Yeah, so you can see here, they initiated that move. So if the longs would have come in this little wick above on the open interest here, this is where the longs came in to push us up, and then they triggered the liquidations that then continued you up. But yeah, if you're looking at it here, you've got $42 million worth of volume in this candle, 650K worth of negative open interest. And then again here, another -5 on 30 million volume. Now, what does this tell you when you have such high volume? And, compared to the volume, the open interest is very small. It is. And the delta, specifically of this candle, is very high. It tells you that positions are changing hands. So could we have seen a local high? Very, very easily. This is why now I'm, there's no long really right now in the immediate. So I like to give like a few trade setups. TradingView says we just tapped the V up. I just had a notification that tapped the V up, but we definitely haven't. But yeah, the trade that I'm looking for initially is actually like a little pullback up to the gold pocket. And then where would I be expecting to take that? Well, if you've got the VWAP, let me pull the multi-time frame VWAP up. I actually deleted it from here, and that's that. There you are. So that's the VWAP just below us. Your first take profit has to always be the VWAP. and you've got to come back up here first. You can't. This isn't one that you're going to preset. You're going to wait for, the you're going to wait for the order flow to tell you this is a good position. But yeah, this is where I'd be looking for somewhat an entry. And obviously, if we come down more, you have to pull this down further, which makes your risk reward a bit worse. But it's still a scalp trade, which, if this is the local high, could run into a day trade for a few hours today. But you have to wait for it to give it to you. Longs are more difficult in my opinion right now. It's longs that I in my opinion have actually been difficult for the last few days. If you weren't in a position, the easier trades were the shorts of all the swing failure patterns and the monthly naked point control that got melted through. They were the easier longs. You didn't get a back test of this weekly here. You did. There was no good trade on the weekly that gave it to you. That you were going to come up here. You've not back tested this daily as well. Let's see what happens here. It's a difficult one to predict now. But yeah, I definitely think that the short's the easier trade. But if we have to wait and see for where we're going to get that. Yeah, I'm going to be certainly watching the order flows now, because I don't think there's many longs at the top of this move here. It is mainly positions changing hands, shorts closing out, and I'm getting positions taken, unless we do see, which we've not seen yet, some buying power come in. You've had a few guys. A few guys come in here and there making some buys, but there's no clear sign that when you have a big move up like this and decreasing open interest, you have to see the buyers then come into the market to then sustain you and push you higher, because you can't short squeeze forever. You have to have some buying interest coming in to help push the market up. I know if we lose the VWAP, for all the traders that trade the VWAP, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people use it, you're not going to be buying below the VWAP. So you have to push price up to the gold pocket that we've got here. Not many people are going to be looking at it on the 1 minute, but you have to push price up to then draw in the buyers. And if they can't push you higher than this high, and then you start to put them underwater, that's where, okay, you can think, I want to flip short. Price will go up. It'll get a bounce from the VWAP. You might see some traders enter the market thinking, okay, we're going to get another. What people will be expecting is another leg up like this. And then when that doesn't happen and they get put underwater, that's the entry trigger for a short. Now, I'm not saying that this is you have to wait for the right things to come in to take the short, because you very easily could get another leg up here. Like Magic says, the target is higher. So you have to really wait and see, if you get that rejection from the gold pocket, at what point do you put the longs underwater? And that's going to be your entry trigger. If you can see, okay, maybe you've got some absorption taking place. It's a difficult one if you're going to trade the CVD absorption from here, because I imagine without a doubt you'll get it, just because of this is a big wick up. You're going to get CVD divergence if there's any absorption taking place here. See, but you have to still, if you're looking at the order flow, once you see them longs enter and get put underwater, it's similar to the same thing. Your stop loss is going to be above this high, and you've got your trap traders, which is going to be your fuel to the downside. But you have to be watching the order flow to get that trade, in my opinion. It's a riskier trade if you're using just trading view, and there's no real way to say, there's no real way to do it on just trading view, unless you've just got a big pair, and you're happy to just short freely in this area. Yeah, it's like trading blind, in my opinion. I can't do it anymore. So yeah, I would be waiting for the longs to enter and to get put underwater before I take any trade right now. But if you get a nice bounce from the VWAP, you could always take a little scalp long. But the thing is, and this is why people keep getting wrecked, you got to be taking profits very quickly. If you're taking a long from the VWAP, which is a ballsy trade, let me tell you, that is a ballsy trade from where we are now. Where's your first take profit? Well, you're not going to wait for the gold pocket, let me tell you. Your first take profit is going to be the 0.382 really, I mean, yeah, it's a difficult. You got big power if you're taking a long up here, but you could still get a leg up. The easiest trade from now, just keep it simple. Short from this region, but you have to see the longs be put underwater. There's no way. There's no other easy trade right now, in my opinion. I'm clicking stuff and showing stuff, and I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, unless you're Magic and you can just literally trade on trading view, like an absolute god.
Like an absolute god.
But yeah, sorry, I actually don't have more. It's
No, that's
No, that's
good.
good.
No.
when you have a big move up like that, it just kind of negates anything you would have talked about before.
Yeah.
Well, we gave a great trade yesterday in the member stream yesterday. If you recall, we were. Let me see if I've got the.
I was gonna say, you want to cover that the area we were in last night? Yeah, around that pivot and slash.
Yeah, where were we on the stream? Let me just figure out where I am. Sorry, I'm on the 1 minute here. I don't know if I have it anywhere. Oh yeah, I do. Sweet. So we dipped below it. So let me just hide some of this. So these are the longs we were. Oh, hang on, get me. There we go. So we were looking for this yesterday. So we had PVA closes. I'm gonna hide this one. There was 3 long setups that you could have taken yesterday. Yes, you dipped below where we gave here, but ultimately what you were going to be trading yesterday. Let me can keep that on. What we were going to be trading for yesterday was, we said if you're in a short, yes, there is a Dalton taking place, but you have to be locking in profits at the previously value area high. When you've got, you've got a 15-minute PVA, which is what I've marked out here. This is an hourly. I'll go back on the 50-minute. We know in the group the backfill rate on these. We've got the statistics for it. You've got a pivot in this region, daily pivot. Yes, you dipped. What is this like? I think it was about here. 0.5. I mean, where are you putting your stop loss realistically? And plus, this move was very fast. So if you're watching the order flow, you're not taking along until the order flow comes in your direction. Let's have a look. Let's not even talk about it. Let's go and have a look at what occurred down here. Find where it was. So it was at 10 o'clock on the 7th for me. And the area we wanted, where was the PVA? 20,030. 20,030. Pop a little thing here. Oh, so pretty much the previous day low. So I can, what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this. Apologies for, there we are. Oh, how can you trade such a message? Yeah, so it's right here. So yeah, the stream was up here. We were talking, I think the stream was up there. Yeah, stream was up here. We're saying you have to take profits at the previously value area high and the pivot in this region here. Okay, so where could you have taken a trade from the low? So after you've got the box here, the box is from this area to this area. As soon as you've got that quick move below, which was on decreasing open interest, you're not going to, you've got shorts entering there, longs getting taken out. I wouldn't say that's, oh, great. Thank you, exit charts. Perfect timing. Honestly. Yeah, so where's the box drawn from? Let me try and bring the box over. So it's from 20,330 to 20,300. Not anything big to be fair. 20,300, 20,330. There we go. So we'll go off that. And it was here, I believe. Yeah. So you've come down, blasted through it. The previously value area high was like here. You got the pivot, which you got. It says you got bounce from there. I'd say the pivot was a bit below actually. But, you've got this move here. But then at the bottom of the candle here, you've got 3.1K on the open interest. Volumes at 4.4 million. Let's have a look at what the net shorts are saying, or net longs. Yes, the net longs and net shorts were kind of getting wrecked there. But, there's definitely, you could argue positions changing hands here. It's not a huge amount. But, as you're getting the buying imbalances coming back above that region, after, you're looking for a buy here. If you've taken the short expecting the Dalton to take place, you have to be taking profits, in my opinion, at the previously value area high. Even though that's not a target in that even though it's not a target in that trade setup, in my opinion, it has to be nowadays, because they're just not working the way that they used to. You know, the highest statistic is to the previous day value at high, but that's if you get the 2 30-minute candles below. You dipped into it here, into where you have, you've closed PVA candle out, you've got a pivot in that region, and the previous day value at high. Arguably, if you've got 3 confluences in an area, you're going to take a trade, you're going to take a long. So why not take profits there? And that's why I've noticed that some people have been absolutely wrecked from this move up. It's like, why are you not taking profits? And then if you're taking profits, don't fall in love with the trade setup. You have to trade the chart. So as you've been getting the move up here, granted, it's not been at massive, but you have had increasing open interest, and it is on positive delta. So it has to be said, there's buying interest coming in. You've come up, you've back tested the VWAP here. Okay, so if you're taking a long here, stop loss goes below the low, you're not going to be getting scared when it comes below here, because it's only, let me go up here, let me put the VWAP on if I have it. That one. Remove this. I'm going to hide these now. Put that there. So yeah, if you're taking the long from here, that's a 1%, less than a 1% stop loss. You're not going to be scared when it comes below here. That's a great trade. 1% stop loss is nothing. Arguably, you've got a back test of the VWAP. You've got that pounce up. Where could you be testing for? We could be testing for, first take profit has to be the daily open, of course. Always has to be the first area of resistance, which is here. So, you've made that trade setup. Yes, the risk reward isn't amazing, but when you're scalping, when you're day trading, you kind of relying on the win rate, to be fair. And if your win rate's not high enough, it's because you're either not locking in the profits early, in my opinion. If you're locking in the profits early, you're okay. But then arguably, yes, you would get stopped out if you put your stop loss to entry. But let's have a look at where you could have got into a trade as you've taken a VWAP. You've reclaimed it. Huge. Okay, there you go. There's your signal to get into a trade. Huge volume. Look at the gradient here. As you break back above the VWAP, this move is so strong. You've claimed the daily open in this region. I think the daily open was about here. Yeah, so you've blasted through the daily open on huge volume. When you have, and look, it is on increasing open interest. Yes, it's not huge, but when you have such volume pushing through moves, that's what signals. We've talked about this in the how-to guides to order flow, and it's pretty much goes across anything. When you break up through a level, when you break out of a range on really high volume, it does signal, it's a good buy. It signals the breakout. And look, it's even increasing. Okay, if you'd have broken out here and it was 49, 35, 31, 10, going the opposite way, it shows, okay, volume's dropping off as we break out here. Maybe this is the short. Maybe this is the short. But instead, you've got increasing volume as you break. Yes, as you get into the resistance, you do, it drops off. But after you've had such a sign of strength, you can enter on that. But yeah, we had the setup down here. And if you're not taking profits, if you're not taking profits and locking it in, yes, you've had a great move, but you have to be, in my opinion, you can't be upset if you miss a move like this, even and you locked in the profits here. If you took that trade as you claim the VWAP, took profits at the daily open, and you got stopped out because you've put your stop loss at entry, you can't be upset if you've missed this move. You've still made almost a percentage, leverage, which as a day trader, if you're doing that every day, who actually gives a shit where price goes? I actually couldn't care. As long as I get my percentage, I do not care. Up, down, left, right, wherever. But yeah, that's where, we gave the box, and it paid off to take profits on them Dalton trades. Because, obviously I know a lot of traders would have, you don't wait for 2 30-minute candles. You try and get in advance. And if you're doing that, you have to be taking profits because they don't always play out. Now today, if you're just trading on TradingView, I've noticed you do have a big Dalton in play, but on exit charts it says you don't. So to be fair, when you have a you're in a short from 20,600. So you got in like just here, I imagine. If you got in here, my God, why didn't you take profits anywhere? If you got in here, again, you had plenty of room to take profits. Here, arguably, you have to always be taking profits at the VWAP. I'm speaking to this guy called Alejandro Serena here. Serena. Sorry, apologies for skewed your last name. And your first now could have skewed that as well. But yeah, in my opinion, you always have to be taking profits at the VWAP and daily opens. They are.
It's not just that. Where's the loss?
Yeah, and of course,
sorry, I'm eating almonds. But
yeah, no, of course. You where's your plan in that trade? We have a risk management video in the members section. Recommend you join and have a look at that, because you wouldn't be in such shit right now had you put a stop loss in. You've accepted the loss with your position sizing, and when you've placed your stop loss, you've stopped it and you're okay with it. And you know what you have to do? You have to learn from it. If you're not learning from a trade like that, where you've fucked up so bad, because that's a bad trade, mate. I can't lie to you. If you're in a short now and it's from down here, that's a bad trade. You've got no plan there. You need to journal, screenshot journal what your thoughts were, and really, not do that again. It's quite important that you learn when you make a mistake. When you make a mistake in trading, especially one like that, it's very easy to learn from it, because you're only going to do it a few times before you realize you have to learn. If you're going to, if you want to be trading long term, that's what you have to do. You have to learn from your mistakes. Granted, you also take
traders.
Go on.
Riverbory's just popped into the chat and he said, I took a lot of profits, but 200-point moves, negative 20%. He had a bad day today, and the dude's an absolute whale, and trades day trades for a living. Just one of those things where he'll be back the day off. He took off, man. He's like, I'm just going to take the day off. I've taken my losses. I don't care. Whatever, because he can, we'll say he can afford them because he's accounted for that into his capital. But he took some pretty losses today for him, and stuff he's not accustomed to seeing. He took the day off because of it. And sometimes that's the best thing to do, is you don't want to revenge trade it. You don't want to feel like you have to get into the next move. It's just to step back, think about, reflect, and then just wait for the next setup in your favor,
Yeah, that's a tough short if you're in from there, to be fair, mate. But what else are we saying? Yeah, it's the short's the easier trade right now, but obviously if you're already in a short, really what you have to do is close that short, accept the loss, accept that you messed up bad, and learn from it. You've got to learn risk management. That's probably the key one that you have to learn right now, because clearly you had no plan. You just thought it was arguably it was a good spot to short. Problem is, you have to take profits. If you're not taking profits, and I was saying this, when was I saying this? I was saying it in one of the live trading sessions that we do. If you're not taking profits, you're literally... So when we look at this chart here, this is what the market makers use. They can see, okay, let's imagine this was green here. Let's imagine this candle was green and it was on really high delta. Let's imagine a load of longs came in here. They can see, okay, longs are in here. Then they can think, okay, where are they going to be putting their stop losses? They're going to be putting their stop losses below here. And then what do? They push price to that level. Now, if you're not taking profits on this move up, you just become a target for the market maker, because they're literally seeking for liquidity. That's all they want. They want your liquidity, and they're going to profit from you. And you've had no stop loss. You're literally their prime customer in these markets. People that don't use stop losses, you probably use high leverage and just get absolutely rinsed. Because it happens time and time again. Look at this little feature here. Actually, I make it smaller, but these are the wrecked bubbles, okay? These are people getting liquidated. All these here, this is thousands and thousands, probably millions of traders, well, definitely millions of dollars worth of traders getting liquidated from the market. And, if you go onto the lower term timeframes, if you go onto the 1 minute, apologies, I'm absolutely hijacking the stream here. Let's see if it gives us, liquidations. And then do you look what you get in here? Right at the top of the move, long liquidations. This is people that are 100x in the top of this, thinking they're going to break out. Long liquidations. This little red dot here, I'm sorry if you can't see it. I'll zoom right in. It doesn't make them too much bigger, but there's actually little red dots here, and that's longs getting liquidated. Even up here, people just love to use leverage, and they just don't understand risk management. I mean, obviously, if you're using 100x, hopefully the position size is like the stop loss pretty much. But yeah, you have to, you really have to learn from lessons like this. Yeah, you have to learn from the lesson, mate. In my opinion, yes, it could come down here, but at the end of the day, you fucked up, and you've got to accept your loss, and you've got to learn from it. You can do two things. You can learn from it, or you can just carry on as you're going. It's your choice, to be fair. I like to journal. I like to take my losses as lessons. You got to at least make some out of it. Hopefully, you've not lost too much money. But yeah, expensive lesson, my friend. Expensive lesson. And I'm done. I'm just going to keep rambling and chatting gas. But yeah, I've not really had any reason to buy or short as of yet, or if you had the pair, big balls at the top there. But yeah, you could always come up, retest the VWAP now, and get a nice rejection. But yeah, that's what we said here. Just remember, I'm long from 19. Oh yeah, you say that, mate, but we see you in the what's up. The thing is, rivalry. So I keep saying it the other way. You're just going to put it back so quickly anyway. Seeing you just go from the loss to the top 10 so quick, it is mad. But yeah, CVO, where you at?
Always a lovely, enticing stream, sir. Right. So, yeah. So, obviously, the boys already covered Bitcoin. What a move, though, right? So, I'm sure I was looking at this earlier today just because when we did run up to this 21,800, I was looking to see if we would get some sort of a fake out up to this region and, have this breakout, so to speak. Do you see that quite often? Obviously, we did not get that. So got the full-on bullish pennant, bullish divergence, full-on run up to the daily and the 6M1 that Magic was covering there. Sorry, guys. But yeah, definitely been a fun day in many ways for most people, right? So last night we were in that that trade looking for that Dalton. I was actually awake last night like 3 a.m. my time, and just like on the 1 minute time frame as I watched the trend start to change right here, basically reclaim that pivot, and then from there, obviously the move was up, and anybody that had a long in this region did pretty well compared. So this last little move right here. This is a 15-minute PVA candle, so that's going to be interesting to see if that just completely gets reversed here all the way back down towards that 21.6. So it'll be interesting to see that. And otherwise, maybe we just get a little range in this region. But looking at some altcoin. Oh, dominance. One thing I did want to look at here, right? We were looking at this last night. So dominance had been chilling. This is on the 15 minutes, so. Dominance had been holding pretty well on this annual level down here for quite a while, pretty much since 24th of June. I mean, I guess only about a week and a half or 2 weeks there. But we were holding that pretty good and had some bullish divergence on this as well. So indicating of at least a big move in Bitcoin. Could have been up, could have been down. Obviously, that's the question. But have had a pretty nice little run up here. So if this starts to pull back, obviously we'll get a little bit of run in the altcoins. And we do tend to see Bitcoin kind of get a nice little pump, some consolidation for a few days. And in that consolidation time, the altcoins tend to really get a nice move. And one thing to notice is that today during this pump, we did not have too many crazy altcoin moves. Pretty much the altcoins moved up like the same percentage, a couple percent here and there, 3, 4, 5%, nothing crazy. But if we get some consolidation out of Bitcoin, it could be pretty big for the altcoin. So taking a look at ETH here. For anybody that's looking for, a nice little lovely pattern, I'm sure everybody's been bringing this one out, right? The Adam and Eve double bottom deal. That's what they're looking at for Bitcoin too, if it already hasn't been kind of put out there. You got the measured move of this, if you want to look at it like that, taking you all the way up to pretty much this golden pocket. Without that being said, either way, still just looking at this old range here. So this is a range from last year that we've been swimming around in here. And we pretty much came up and tagged the EQ. Once again, this is where we got the rejection just a few weeks back. Obviously, we had our low come in back in 960, come back to the EQ. We do have an untapped monthly key level just above us, our 2017 all-time high, which is also a weekly level also. That golden pocket, which if anybody's looking for measured move-wise, that's got a little confluence there. But regardless, that is the golden pocket here from the move down. Then you got the range high back here at 1650. An untapped quarterly key level. One thing that was kind of that I've been kind of bringing up for a while is that we may end up seeing quite a range here, right, out of all the altcoins, especially in their new quarterly ranges here that they just printed last month. And one thing to note that's not a small feat at all. That's a 70% move out of ETH to the upside. Obviously, we break the range and continue on, and that's a different story. But coming into this region, if we get there, we'd probably also be seeing Bitcoin up towards that 25, 20, maybe even 8,000 by then. So major resistance coming up in this region. And maybe even up towards that quarterly key. But as far as that, like right now, we are pretty much sitting at resistance. So something to be paying attention for. If you don't come up above this EQ here, point of control is probably the area we come back down and land again. And then otherwise, reclaim this level. Next stop would be this untapped monthly right here, about 1316. And then from there, we'd be looking up there. Rivalry stopped out 17 times. Man, I was stopped out a couple times too, man. I missed that long, and I was just every major resistance I was trying to catch a short.
Good Lord. Well,
not Bitcoin.
To be upfront with you guys, I mean, since CVO's got it up there, it's a good chart. But he's looking at that on the monthly, and you can look at the volume profile and see exactly what you're looking for. You hold on to that about 21K level at this point after this last move up. There's really not much above you. Some local stuff, but it could put in a local range still. We have to be kind of careful, but anything above this level, you guys can look at the volume profile there. You see how there's just nothing up there. It's also reflective in the order flow, and that means that, well, if we do get a move up, we have our invalidations, some levels that have to be held, and they do line up very nicely with that right there from June. So one would expect that if we start losing some key levels here, it actually could get pretty, I wouldn't say pretty nasty, but I would say it would not be pretty. I would expect to see the lows that we just put in at the weekly open tested for sure. However, to the flip side of that, those levels hold. You hold that, middle of the chart there, 20.6K being a really important level in my opinion. But I would say 21,000's in there too. That little $400 window, I mean, you can challenge into these levels and see that rise in price that gets people excited, that gives you that really good short. Not saying today wasn't a good one. It was just, is it the best one that's on the table? Yet to be seen, yet to be determined. Statistics say that we will take this high eventually this month. So for me, I would just trade accordingly. Yeah, relief rally, whatever you want to call it. Range rotation for me. That was the word of the day. No sign of weakness. We have our upper targets still, even though we've completed the volume range rotation. We still have to see the statistical targets through potentially, and that's what you are seeing now. Does that mean a macro bottom? I do not think so. I still don't see that happening until we get further data. but that's neither here nor there. That's down the road. So I'll let CVO carry on with what he's going. I just saw your BTC chart and I was like, oh, I like that you have that volume profile up because I know exactly which one that is. So it's a really good way to look at it right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Cardano here. So similar to Ethereum, I got a little bit more mud on the chart on Cardano here, but wide range, right? So, well, yeah, 70%. So pretty much the same, I guess, from low to high. Not saying we're just going to run it straight there, but we have seen crazier things out of the altcoin market, right? So if we do get a nice little range around this area for Bitcoin next couple of days without getting a substantial pullback, I would imagine that the altcoins might see some of these next levels, right? So for Cardano, we were struggling to get above the point of control, which is our major target there. He did just possibly come up and, coming down for an SR flip here. From there, untapped monthly key level, just above here, about 51 cents a daily. Our golden pocket, that's also another daily level on the chart as well. Monthly key level and range high. And that'd be pretty much the major areas I'd be looking for short term here, I guess, over the next couple of weeks here. Lose that point of control, of course, looking back down towards the daily below and then the range low once again. Main one right now being this untapped monthly key level, though. I would imagine we're probably going to see that. And it's not a huge move at this point, but 7%. So yeah, nothing crazy. Run it from here to that golden pocket, 20% there. And then and I'm bringing up just, we talk about a lot of altcoins, obviously, especially in the group, but right now it's just kind of like a market gauge. And, you could pull up a couple of the large caps and they're going to give you a pretty good idea of what the entire altcoin markets, look like. And Solana, right? So Solana is a good one for that possible pattern outlook, right? So this is what we were talking about last night in the stream, is that I would imagine most are going to start dressing this up a little bit as an inverse head and shoulders. Regardless, the level you want to see kind of pushed above, which is basically coming in right at that neckline, if anybody's looking at it like that, is going to be this point of control. So for here, flip that level and SR flip from there, looking at this golden pocket up here at about $47. You got your daily level above it and then your range high. And once again, anybody that's going to be dressing this up as possible head and shoulders here is probably going to be targeting a little bit above that range high there. But regardless, that's pretty much where that's a pretty big move, actually. I would imagine that I think that's where the quarterly pivot comes in as well. So either way, next moves would be up back towards that $55 region, reclaim that range high, off we go. Otherwise, when we do come into these levels here, if we do as well, it's just really going to be important to pay attention to where the market is as a whole. Pay attention to ETH's chart, Bitcoin's chart, obviously, and see where we're running into. This is a pretty big range as well, right, from low to high. 100% for Solana. So catching anybody that's caught this at the low, obviously you had to ride some highs and runs, had that run up, pull back to the golden pocket perfectly. And right now we are at resistance. So you really would want to see this point of control flipped. But if we come up to this range high up here and this is starting to show signs of weakness, you got Bitcoin and Ethereum and other aspects running into high resistance as well. This could be a really nice area to consider a short or take profits, depending on if you're looking at a long-term hold portfolio or if you're actively, trading around. So it's pretty much all I got. Really just, a fun day across the board there. I think we're going to see some moves out of the altcoins for tomorrow's Friday. So I would imagine we're probably going to get some stagnation out of Bitcoin. And then the altcoins will probably run into the weekend with some fireworks. Whether or not that's anything massive, we'll see. But they didn't really have a huge run today, right? So what is today? I mean, Ethereum pretty much just runs it with Bitcoin. So I mean, 9-10%, which that's a great move, but nothing substantial there. Let's find something that runs a little bit more. See what they ran. I just bring this up because we all know that the altcoins do tend to get those higher percentage gains here. So when the market settles a little bit, I would imagine that they are going to be firing up pretty hard. Let's see. And Near's a good one. Near's actually got one of the largest ranges that I'm paying attention to. So one day, I imagine if Bitcoin runs it back to 28, Near is going to have one of the best opportunities, in my opinion, right? Who knows? But from low to high, especially if you were able to pick it up at that low, there's like a 400% range. Pretty big opportunity there. Even just a run back to the point of control, 3-month level, pretty good opportunity. And then from there, we'll see how things go. But I picked this up just to see where. Yeah, so like 10% there too. The altcoins really haven't like popped, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So we'll pay attention, see how it goes. If we get a pullback in big dominance, more than likely we'll get a run out of the altcoins. So do you think it's going to go down? The what? Bitcoin, everything? More than likely, yeah, we're probably going to, if we haven't already just pulled back that entire candle yet. For now, I would imagine that we possibly come back and just basically eat up this entire candle that we put in today, or so far today, since we just opened this on the daily open. But this candle that just ran up, I mean, if we don't lose that, it's likely that we might actually get a little range in this region. So we'll see how that goes. And like I said, if you start getting a range out of Bitcoin, the altcoins will probably be putting in some nice moves. All right. Max or Magic, anything to add before we finish it up? Just coming up on our hour time frame here.
No, not particularly, mate. We're just coming up to the VWAP now. Let's see if it gets claimed or rejected. In answer to the Krenkar's question, do you think it's going to go up and down? It's probably going to range after you've had a move like that. So after the move we've had yesterday, it's probably going to range probably until New York Open, to be fair. But yeah, you need the crystal ball to answer that question. Could go either way, really could. But the problem, well, it's a pain in the arse when people say that, especially influencers. But yeah, it could go either way. But you can't tell where price action is going to go. But what you can do is spot the trades to align you with the price action when it does come. Right now, there is no easy trade setup to get in. It's not about where's the price going to go. It's about getting in the setups, and then when the price goes, you're in the right position to do so. And right now, you have to either come up to that golden pocket or reject from the VWAP, what we're possibly doing now. If we get a nice tap from it and the order flow says we're going down, okay, there's your entry trigger. Right now, as you've come up to it, you are on increasing open interest. Delta hasn't really come in too much. So there's not too much buying interest. If you get a nice rejection with shorts coming into it as you come off the VWAP, okay, that could be a trigger for a short. You have to get the selling imbalances and shorts entering, because you have got a few longs here that you could put underwater. And then there's your there's potentially a short to get into, or you wait for a claim, and then you could short the golden pocket. You could long the VWAP. There's so many setups that you could take. You can't really theorize, okay, this price is going to go up or down. It's not really a thing. What you have to look at is the market structure, and the market structure says up right now. The market structure says up, okay. But then you have to look at the other things. Have you got fuel to the upside? Where are the targets to the upside? You've had a huge move. Normally after a huge move, you get range in action. Anyone that can say, oh, it's going to go here, it's going to go there, they don't know. But what you have to do is you have to find the trade setups. The chart does give you trade setups. It's not that it's like a mythical thing. No, the chart gives you setups, and it's about finding them and taking them. It's not about where it's going to go. It's about trading the setups that you get given on the charts. And that's the problem with the industry, to be fair. No one can actually tell you where it's going to go. Price is going to do what it wants. You've just got to spot the trades when they come and take them.
Thank you for coming to Max's TED Talk.
Yeah, there you go.
No, always good words of wisdom there, sir. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this weekly update here. We do this every Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, right after either myself or Magic or both of us appear as guests on Debate Crypto. So if you haven't yet, check them out on YouTube. They do a slew of videos and guest hosts and all kinds of fun stuff every day. And then we are on there usually every Thursday night. So tune into our channels as well as we do this, like I said, every Thursday night as a full-on market update. And if you're interested in joining the leading crypto Discord server, the information to join that is in our description below. You can have access to all of our Bitcoin analysis, altcoin analysis, and our step-by-step academy and everything else in the whole shebang there. Otherwise, that's all for us. And have a great afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in this beautiful world. And until next time, everybody, cheers.